Taniel Chemsian Properties. Live by design.
I'm a writer and I have a blog. So it was basically about my blog called Sand in My Curls. It was just a quick 10-minute blurb about me and about my writing and about that I also write for International Living and about moving here and what it's like to move here and all the feelings that you have when you move here. So it was a little bit about our lives, but a lot about what it would be like if you moved to Puerto Vallarta. I would definitely say living in Puerto Vallarta makes it easy to write because I have not only the rich culture, the food, the people, the lifestyle of what's here, but also I have just what it feels like as somebody who's moved abroad and what it feels like to settle into a new home. So I have a lot of content, lots of things to write about, lots of beautiful, beautiful stories about Penang. Nope. Lots of beautiful stories about Puerto Vallarta.
I came in 1996, the guy's trip. And then we came again in 2009, I think, and had a great time here. And it was off the radar, really, until we came back in, 21, or 22.
22?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of been a rekindling it. We knew we liked it, but we never really thought about living here before. So
yeah, it was just like a party, fun, great beach, good food, lots, perfect sun and whatever and fun. And we didn't know all the other great aspects that Puerto Vallarta has to offer, like all the culture, and certainly the people are fantastic. And the longer we've been here, we've learned a lot more about the food and just the history. It's a beautiful location and it's super easy to live here. So,
well, we were living in Malaysia for 9 years. And during COVID, after COVID, we both thought, okay, we need to make a change. And so we decided after a lot of years and a lot of anguish to leave Malaysia, but we weren't sure where we were going to go. So I had been working with Taniel and we were just talking about what are we going to do with ourselves. We came back to the States, spent about 6 months wandering, seeing family, kind of trying to figure out what we were going to do. And then figured, well, we don't want to live in America. Nothing's wrong with living in America, but we just didn't. That wasn't what we wanted.
It just felt a lot different than, and when we left, we both had companies and we were working, 80 hours a week and, it's just such a grind. And then we came back and it was like everything, it felt like we were going to just get slotted back into all work, no life. And we didn't want to do that. And we were like, okay, let's just take a pause because COVID was horrible. In Malaysia, we were under lockdown for 560 days, plus or minus, and under really horrible conditions. They were doing it because they were concerned about the people, obviously, but we couldn't leave our house and leave more than 5 miles without a letter from the police. For a portion of that, only one of us at a time could go out of the house. There was no exercising outside. There was no beach. And it was just like, okay, we had enough of that. So we came back to the States. We were trying to regroup. And they're like, well, we're going to get slotted into this run thing. Let's go to Mexico. Let's recenter ourselves and figure out what our next steps are. And
we just said we're gonna come here for a month. And so we just planned 1 month and nothing else. And when the month was over, we thought, well, maybe we should just try a second month and see if we like it as much.
Yeah, plus by that time it was February, and it's like, well, why would we ever go back in February? That's a horrible month.
Especially Chicago or Connecticut. Right.
And it was like, and March is a really bad month too. And April's not much better. And then...
Yeah, and so every month we just kept saying, can we just renew for 1 more month and 1 more month and 1 more month? And then
in June, we traveled back to Malaysia. We still had car, furniture, a whole house there. So we went back We sold the car, the scooter, all of our belongings. When we traveled there and moved, we had 8 suitcases.
No.
No, 4 suitcases, excuse me. And when we came back, we had 8.
Yeah.
But the 4 that we brought back with us, the additional, was really all artwork. So, and stuff that we picked up,
Like collected
over there. And then we moved here, we started again with 2 suitcases, and now
in the art. We don't have any clothes, but we've got really cool masks on our walls.
There's a lot of reasons that we're very happy we live here. First, there was the election, and a lot of people were freaking out about that. We weren't so worried because we knew no matter who got elected, we're still going to go to work, we're still going to live. But there was
Here.
Right, but there was a lot of like animosity and hate back home, and it was stupid. We didn't want to be part of that, and we were lucky to stay away from it. Now, because we've been here just long enough, we feel really comfortable here. We're slowly learning the language. My Spanish is still bad. Kirsten's is much better. But, we're integrating, and it is a very easy place to transition, especially Puerto Vallarta, because many people speak English for people who don't, have any Spanish skills. And there are a lot of U.S. and big international grocery stores. There's a Home Depot, there's a Costco. So a lot of those comforts of home you can kind of pick up. So it really, we like to joke, and when we were in Malaysia, it was Asia Light, and now we're in Mexico Light because there's so many, expats here. It is, I think, a good mix, and we don't want too many more people to come because we still love the Mexican people and the Mexican culture. We don't want it to turn into some suburb like Cabo San Lucas or something like that.
I think making friends in Puerto Vallarta is relatively easy. The first challenge that I felt like we had was that everybody's here on vacation. So we would go out, and we're pretty social. So we'd go out, we'd chat with people, we make friends with people, and then they'd be like, "Oh, we're leaving the next day," or we're here for 4 hours, or
3 weeks, whatever, right?
So we make friends, we go out for dinner, we get to know of it, and then they're gone. Whether they come back or not, another story. So we found that challenging at the beginning, but then we started delving deeper and going into like the Facebook groups and that kind of stuff, and going to events of people who are actually here either all year or most of the year.
Right.
And that's made a huge difference for us.
Yeah. There's one group in particular that we joined, and it's made up, there's, I think, 4,500 members, and a significant chunk of them are full-time Puerto Vallarta residents now. And because of that, we have a lot of good friendships, and from unique people from all over the world that totally different backgrounds, and there's probably no way we would ever meet these people in our regular business, because she's a writer and she's at home, and I work online and I'm at home. So we're not on a regular basis going out unless we're very strategic and plan. And so that's been a really good thing for us. Initially, though, it was hard, especially when we lived in the romantic zone. In the building that we lived in, there were almost predominantly all short-term rentals. So it was you weren't going to ever meet anybody there because they're just there on vacation. They're in and out, going from a restaurant to a bar to an excursion. So
they're here to party and play it. But I think also we moved to a different neighborhood. And so in Cinco de Diciembre, it's a very family-oriented neighborhood. So there's kids running around on the streets. There's horses coming down the street. There's definitely people who are living there full time, like living their lives. So that made a difference for us also.
Yeah, it's definitely much more local oriented. We have a bread guy a couple bread people that come twice a day. We have a plant guy. We have the horses that seem to come. There's a cobbler for the horses. I mean, it's a very cool and unique neighborhood.
Yeah.
And of course, you have to have chickens because
roosters.
And roosters.
Yeah. Got to have those. So, and I think also we've met a lot of neighbors, just walking around the neighborhood. People are so nice.
Yeah.
Like locals, expats, everybody. They're just so nice. They just want, I think people who have dogs, We've met a
Yeah.
million people walking their dogs just because they're out and about, and everyone's happy. The ocean makes everybody happy.
Yeah,
It's-
they
guys, everybody's happy.
the thing I explain to people that ask me, like, well, what is it about PV that's so attractive? And I think I nailed it in that so many people come here on vacation. There's like a constant sea of people that are happy, right? Because most people, when they go on vacation, they're relaxed and they want to have fun. So that energy comes with them. It's not like, oh, I gotta make the bills. I gotta pay. So it's constantly a fresh wave of happy people from all around the world that are enjoying this great, area, and we get to be part of that. And that energy is just really easy to enjoy. And the people, every now and then it's obvious that someone hasn't had the time to decompress because they're screaming at somebody. But since we've lived here, very rarely do you see people getting upset. It's very chill here, which is fantastic. So when we first moved here, I lived most of my adult life, 28 years in Chicago. I'm originally from Connecticut, but people from Chicago would always say to me, "Oh my God, you live in Mexico. It's so dangerous." I'm like, "You live in Chicago. It's way more dangerous," and like, we know how dangerous Chicago is, but we just got acclimatized to it because we live there. And it isn't, dangerous 95% of the time to the whole population because the way the city is, but there are horrible neighborhoods that you don't ever want to go. And I don't feel that way ever here. And we've lived here, like you said, 3 years. And you see petty street crime sometimes, but you would see that in any city, in any place in the whole world. And we've been to 40 some odd countries. So we've seen, a couple countries. So we know that what we see here, it's very tame. And I don't know how to explain it. If you're nervous about leaving your home country because of the dangers, here it seems like we're in a bubble. There is crime for sure, but very rarely do you ever see it or hear it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the violent crimes that you hear about all the time on the news in America. It's just like there's crimes of opportunity, there's petty theft and that kind of stuff. But in general, I feel very safe here, and I have never felt unsafe here. Like, I don't feel like, even if I walk around, I mean, I don't walk around at night by myself because I wouldn't do that in any city. But I just know that when I walked around after dinner, coming home, I never am worried.
Yeah.
And I think our families, when we first moved to Malaysia, our families were like, "You're crazy. What are you doing? Why would you ever leave?" And then coming back and living in Mexico, they're excited because they're actually like, "Okay, we're going to see you more. It's closer. We're actually going to get, there's actually a direct flight. We can get."
Yeah, and they want to visit.
They want to visit.
Because it's so accessible. Like from the East Coast, there's direct flights. From the Midwest, there's direct flights, and the West Coast. And so our family from all around,
We basically, last year we had, I think, January till May, full-time.
Yeah, I don't think we had more than 10 days that we didn't have guests. Like, so
what happened in Malaysia?
Right. Because it's too far, it's like a 48 hours, door to door. But here, people, they come for a weekend or a week and then they leave and then another one will come and her mom comes and stays with us. So.
And I think if they've never been to Mexico and they were the ones who were scared and we were saying, "Come on, just come with us," you'll see that it's so not scary. I think once they leave, they realize, "Oh, okay, this is all like media saying things that just to scare us, but it's really not a scary place."
No, her mom, who's, almost 80 and is not a real adventurous person on her own. The first time she came, she was kind of nervous, but last year she came, and then she was like going out almost every day by herself, and she would go to shops, and she really opened up, and she's like, "Oh, I love your neighborhood." So, and for someone of that age to feel comfortable is a really amazing testament to living in Puerto Vallarta, to the people. Like, and that's one of the things we love too, is that unlike in the States where the young kids would be really disrespectful to old people, here, there is some of that, but nowhere near the same amount. And there is just a respect for elderly people, and it's so heartening to see young kids being sweet to their grandparents. It's a wonderful thing. Back in 2013, when we moved away from the United States the first time, there was a ton of fear because it was a different country. How are we going to make a living? How are we going to communicate, etc.? So we experienced a lot of those things. And then when we came to Mexico, we knew it was possible to make it through because we had done it in Malaysia. But Mexico, we were nervous. Hey, are we going to be able to get a bank? Are we going to be able to find an apartment? Are they going to take our money for the apartment and we'll never get a place, that kind of thing? And none of that happened. I'm not saying that some people probably haven't gotten hoodwinked, but I think that's probably prevalent in the States as well. But we found it relatively easy for the reasons I may have mentioned before, that because there's a lot of, you can see the big multinational Home Depot, Costco, Sam's Clubs, Walmart. So you can find that kind of thing. And then there are enough people that are expats here that guide you and help you. And the locals will always help you too. So it's been pretty easy. But the first step off is the toughest one. But there is a lot of guides and people out there. Yeah. There's a blog that's, that she writes that really explains it. And there are courses and other things. So it's not like moving to Malaysia where there's almost, it's a huge country, 33 million with I think 10,000 or 15,000 expats. So
I think also when we moved to Malaysia, it was so scary. Just leaving your home, just making that first step to decide that you're actually going to leave is scary, and it should be scary because it's exciting. It's scary. It's a huge change. How are you going to be able to get groceries? How are you going to get groceries? Where do you get groceries? Am I going to get my favorite cheese or whatever it is? It's hard and it's scary, and there's a lot of emotion that goes along with it. Yeah. Especially for me, there was a lot of emotion, a lot of guilt, which I still feel. But and it's only been over a decade that we've been gone. But I'll get used to that one day.
Well, I think too, when you're about to leave the country, and then you think, oh my God, all this stuff. And we weren't big collectors of anything back home, but it took us weeks to sell and give away all our stuff. And literally, we boiled everything that we owned down to I think it was like a 5x5 storage locker and those 4 bags. And I'll never forget that last night we were sleeping on an air mattress because the TV was gone, everything was gone, plates were gone. And I looked around and I said, wow, how freeing is this? There's nothing, we don't have to worry about any of this. And the next day it was gone, and you got to start a new life and experience things like for the first time as an adult in a new place. It was amazing.
But I think also, yeah, for sure. I agree with you 100%. And I think also once you get on that plane and you make that first step and you actually find a place to stay, even if it's just for a few months, nothing's written in stone. So if you're not happy, you don't have to stay. Like, right. You can go somewhere else. You're not a tree. Like, you get to go somewhere else, or you get to choose.
You're not rooted here,
right?
If you don't choose to,
right? So we've made conscious choices to be places and stay places that have made us happy. But if we weren't happy, we wouldn't have stayed.
Right.
So I think that's part of the thing that I think people get so stuck on. Like, if I leave, what am I going to do? What if it doesn't work out? What about this? What about that? And it's like, there are a lot of things that you can, what if? But at the end of the day, it's just, you can just go back. It doesn't.
Yeah. Or just shift.
Or go somewhere else. Like,
this is a huge country as well. And it's got a lot of unique environments. And if you love the mountains, there's mountains here. If you love being around animals and around, horses, there's so many ranches and stuff. So you don't have to be a beach. We just chose because we lived in the Midwest and there was no beach and it was cold all the time. We wanted to be by the beach and with sun, because you feel so much better, at least we do, seeing the sun every day. It's really, It's a wonderful thing.